What's up, people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're gonna go through how to stay steady over the Christmas period with your image. Christmas is coming up and summer is also coming up, or here basically today in Australia. And with them two things comes a lot of pressure for people when it comes to food and their body. We're gonna talk about how you can manage them pressures, specifically about body image, because that's gonna be important around this time of year. So first of all, your body image is a perception of your physical self and the thoughts, feelings and behaviors that arise from that perception. It's different to your body composition. Your body composition is your physical body, but your body image is a perception that's always changing. And I'll give you an example of a time where I really struggled with my body image. Now, I've always been quite a thin guy, so I've never had a massive fear of fat gain, but I did have a big fear of losing muscle. And I remember I used to go out after 3 weeks hard training, looking after my nutrition. I'd go out on a little bit of a bender on the weekend, and maybe I might go to a rave, maybe I might go to a house party, take loads of drugs, drink. And when I came home from them house parties or them raves, I'd look at myself in the mirror, I'd see my eyes popping out of my head, I'd see my lips were very, very chopped, and I'd look at my body and I'd think, holy shit, you're after dropping so much muscle. You look like Jar Jar Binks, you actually look ill. And that was a shift in my perception. Yes, there was some body composition changes, but they weren't as significant as I was seeing them because my perception had shifted so much. And that's what happens when you are engaging in behaviors that aren't in line with respect with your body image will shift. We're gonna talk a little bit about feelings of fatness to start, okay? So you may notice over the Christmas break that at points when you eat certain foods or drink a little bit too much alcohol, you might get feelings of fatness, all right? And this is how you manage feelings of fatness. First of all, you know that fat isn't a feeling, so there's something else going on. Maybe you might be mislabeling an experience. Say, for example, you've had your roast dinner, you check your stomach right away, which is normally not the best thing to do. You see people like pull up their stomach and rub their stomach and check how big it's got, all right? Normally saying, oh, I feel so fat, when in actual fact, they're bloated. And it's important to accurately label these because it actually affects how we feel. Sometimes when we say I'm fat, we can feel insecure, we can feel frustrated, we can feel fear that we're gonna lose all our progress. So start accurately labeling your experience rather than saying you feel fat. Also, I just talked about different feelings that you might feel. If you're waking up tired, hungover, a lot of time, maybe you're feeling shameful, maybe you're feeling regretful. Accurately label what you're experiencing and then you're gonna have a better idea what to do in that case. So you can use the 3 N's in this situation. The 3 N's is name, so name the feeling that's going on for you, whatever, attune to your body, and maybe it's shame, maybe it's regret, maybe it's guilt. Then you're gonna describe that feeling. What does fear feel like in your body? Well, fear feels like my heart beating out my chest, maybe it feels like a wrenching in my gut. Describe that sensation and then ask yourself, what do I really need right now? And that little framework can help you to take the right actions rather than spiraling out of control. Another thing you're gonna have to be mindful of is your thoughts. If you're calling yourself a fat, lazy piece of shit, you're gonna feel pretty rough and that can lead to sabotaging behaviors. So our thoughts, emotions and behaviors are all interlinked. So we really need to attune to these and see how they're affecting us. The tool you can use here is cognitive diffusion. So cognitive diffusion is when we detach from these thoughts or feelings. So if you think about your thoughts and feelings like you're being the observer of them rather than actually fusing to them. When you fuse to them, that's when they become the problem. You fuse to the thought that I am fat, and then you feel fear, or maybe from rejection or fat gain, maybe you feel regret, maybe you feel shame, and then you engage in maladaptive behaviors. Maybe you may say, oh, fuck it, I've already ruined it now, I might as well eat the whole cake and the next cake after that, and I might as well just start back again in January because I've ruined everything. The last point I'm gonna go through here is behaviors, right? So some body image behaviors that can maintain your appearance struggles and affect your ability to actually do the right things is stuff like pinching your skin. So if you're pinching your skin to try regulate your emotions or see how much fat is there, that's normally not a good idea. So some people may, for example, eat their Christmas dinner and then they will check their fat to see if they have put on any fat, to try regulate their emotions. If they don't think that they've got enough skin fold, or they've got less skin fold, or it's the same, they feel okay in themselves. But if they feel more skin fold, they feel worse in themselves. So they're trying to use their body to regulate their emotions rather than actual tools outside their body. And the last little point here I'm going to talk about is certain behaviors that we engage in that maintain our image struggles. A lot of people will pinch their skin to see how much fat they have. And the problem with pinching your skin is you're using your body to try to regulate your emotions. If the skin feels like there's more fat there, you actually feel worse in yourself. If it feels like it's okay, you might feel okay, but you're trying to actually use your body to regulate your emotions rather than actually attuning to your emotions and being able to regulate them using different skills. Self-protection is also self-rejection. You might be avoiding photos because of how you look, but what you're doing is you're rejecting yourself and rejecting the acceptability of your own body. What that does is it increases fear to do these things. So it'll increase your fear to go to the beach, it'll increase your fear to take the top off, all them things. So the more you move away from them fears, the bigger them fears will get. I sometimes recommend my clients to create a list of their fears when it comes to their body, you know, and at the bottom of the list might be trying on the top. Maybe at the top of the list might be putting a picture up on Instagram with their top off. That could be a 10 out of 10 on the anxiety scale or fear scale. But it's good to actually rank these and see, can you start to move through these and build your confidence in your body? Here's some tips to go away with. First of all, feelings of fatness are transient. Your ability to manage them is really, really important. Body image flexibility is a capacity to experience these unwanted thoughts and feelings about our body and still take value, consistent action. So you're still acting in line with what's important to you, rather than thinking I'm fat and then skipping the gym and skipping meals, doing all the things that make you spiral into these iron nothing cycles. Second point, you are not your thoughts. If you notice thoughts such as I'm a fat cunt, or hyper focusing on certain parts of your body, understand that that is not you. Defuse from these thoughts rather than fusing to them. Fusing to them can lead to self-sabotaging behaviors. And last tip, if you have indulged, don't go over checking metrics. Don't go stepping on the scale to try see have you put on weight. Don't try pinch your skin to see how much fat's there. You're maintaining your body image concerns. These things aren't inherently bad, but there's a time and place to use them. And the last tip for you is, if you're someone that tends to feel a lot of fear when you step on the scale and try to use that to regulate your emotions, it might be a good idea to reduce these kind of checking behaviors over the Christmas period. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit it a like, give it a share on Instagram. I'd appreciate it. Always grateful for any support that you can provide.